We've got
and they're
Brian.
talking.
Hi,
Oh,
Brian. You're
hello.
on Truth Wanted.
Yeah. Hi, I was just talking to the screener. I just got interrupted. Sorry about that.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, I was just explaining that. Hi, guys. I'm always curious. I've always been an atheist, mostly a closet atheist. But for people who deconverted, and especially the ones that used to have silly beliefs, how do you laugh at beliefs that you used to hold? At one time in your life, you were serious about them and you were sincere about them. So I'm wondering, when you laugh at them now, is there some kind of underlying other reaction to it? Or do you just think it's like, oh man, that's a dumb belief? Is there something else going on? I just don't understand it.
I would say, well, first of all, I think I can definitely look back and laugh at some of the actions that I took during that time. I don't think I do try to draw a line that I'm not laughing at the people, but what some of the stuff that they're doing is pretty, like, from the outside looking in. It's, to me, it can kind of be like watching people, like a group of people who's drinking and like seeing it from the outside, and it's when you're in the belief, it does feel really normal, but the further and further you get away from it and looking at it from the outside, the more you realize the difference between how people normally act and how they are acting when they're in that group setting and the emotions are high and there's somebody kind of egging them on. So I don't know. I tried that. I'm not laughing at people, but it is, the beliefs are something that you can kind of, you have to laugh at it a little bit.
I mean, do you still have a mentality of how can anybody believe such a thing? Or is that not a mentality that you have? Because you did have that belief yourself, but then I hear like you or other atheists who have podcasts laughing at those beliefs. And as you said, it's not the believers themselves, but the beliefs. And it just always seems like a weird reaction. I don't hold, or I don't laugh at any beliefs that I've ever held in my life. I've never considered any beliefs that I've ever held in my life to be silly. Some were wrong, definitely. I've never held something that I now considered silly.
Well,
so I've never had that dramatic reversal.
I've been out of faith over 10 years now, and as Erin said, the further you get from it, the more ridiculous it looks. And I've many times, and in conversations with other deconstructed Christians, and in my own mind, I've shook my head and said, how could I believe that? How could I believe that for so long? Not even that I would believe that a snake talked to a woman in the garden, but that I would believe that for so long, that God drowned the human race in a worldwide flood. These ideas that are written in the Bible that I bought into lock, stock, and barrel. So I'm not offended at anyone laughing at those ideas, because I laugh at them, and it's fine if you don't. But as Erin said, I'm not laughing at any individual or ridiculing a person, but I think bad ideas need to be ridiculed so that they're exposed as bad ideas. And if we give them credibility as though it's just a different way of looking at things, or it's a different idea, and we allow them the same kind of breathing room as we would a true idea, then we're giving them credibility in some sense. So in that way, or because of that, I think they do deserve ridicule. And again, it's not the person you're ridiculing, and I don't ever look at someone and say, how can you be so stupid? But I can say those ideas are not credible. And for my own personal life, just one more thing, I live by the adage, a quote I heard from Maya Angelou: do the best you can do until you know better. And then when you know better, do better. And so I look back on my life as looking at it from the viewpoint of, I was doing the best I could. I really thought I was living right and believing right. And then when I woke up and saw that those ideas were faulty, I'm able to move on from that. Does that make sense?
Well, sure. And I would add on the one part, even when I was in a private closet atheist and then later transitioning to an open and public atheist, I was still afraid of religion and afraid of coming out, afraid of speaking out against it. So I was still intimidated by religion. And one thing that shook the fear out of me was making fun of it and seeing other people make fun of it. So that definitely helped a lot. There's so many absurd beliefs in it, and just watching parodies of religious beliefs helped a lot. So I appreciated that. So that's all I got. So thank you very much for your time and your
Thanks
answers.
for calling, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
I mean, some people, don't you think, Erin, I've gotten a little pushback from people, don't make fun of that stuff. And I try to be clear, like I just said, that I'm not ever making fun of a person, because why would I? I used to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't look down at, oh, I'm so much smarter than you and so much better than you. And that's one of the differences I learned coming out of faith and into the atheist community, is that people who've always been atheists and never were in the Christian world kind of have a different edge to them. They're not as compassionate and empathetic toward Christians as those of us who used to be in there tend to be. Don't you think?
Yeah, I was actually just having a conversation about this the other day, that there is a bit of a difference when you're talking to somebody who has been raised in it, probably indoctrinated from a very young age, and then they go through the whole process. And like we mentioned earlier, often can be quite traumatizing when you're losing your faith like that. I feel that I have spoken to a lot of people who have been atheists their whole lives, and there is a little bit of a difference in the way that they look at it. Not saying that it's everybody, that's for sure. There's a lot of really amazing, compassionate people who have been atheists their whole lives. But yeah, I do still look back on those years that I believed those things with some compassion, as well as being able to look at it as a silly thing now. But yeah, I believed it wholeheartely. I believed it very sincerely, and I know others who very sincerely still believe it. And yeah, but the ideas themselves are worth criticizing. And I think it's easy to make fun of, for a lot of people, making fun of people who are in the more extreme charismatic versions of the faith. I don't know if I mean, we talk about it like it is like from an outsider perspective, but I do still remember what it's like being there and thinking it was all true.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but
I spoke in tongues, thinking I was praying a heavenly language that only
me
God
too.
could understand. I mean,
Me too.
I have to make fun of that. That's just lunacy.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest one to point out, that this is pretty out there. And that's the one that I get asked about the most when I say that I grew up in a charismatic denomination. I get asked, did you ever speak in tongues? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Everybody did for the most part, everybody did in my church. It was very normal. It seemed normal to me. It seemed normal until it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.